Zantac, the heartburn drug that turned into a poison. 77,000 lawsuits, billions in settlements, and a legacy of cancer. This is the story of how a once trusted medication became a public health crisis. Zantac is the name synonymous with heartburn relief. But what exactly is it? When we eat certain foods, especially fatty ones, our stomachs can produce excess acid, leading to acid reflux. Zantac works by reducing the amount of acid your stomach produces, quickly easing discomfort. It also treats heartburn and similar conditions. However, Zantac is just a brand. The actual drug is called ranitidine, developed by GlaxoSmithKline, Glaxo, a multinational pharmaceutical company and approved by the FDA in 1983. Glaxo aggressively marketed Zantac as the ultimate solution for acid reflux and related issues, and it wasn't long before sales took off. A mere 3 years after its FDA approval, Zantac had already raked in over $1 billion, quickly becoming the world's best-selling medication. But incredibly, this was just the beginning. At this point, Zantac was only available by prescription, meaning patients had to schedule appointments, consult doctors, and get a prescription filled. Then, in 1996, everything changed. Zantac was finally approved for over-the-counter sales. Suddenly, anyone could buy it. While Glaxo's patent on ranitidine eventually expired, allowing competitors to enter the market, Zantac had already become a household name, a brand people trusted. It continued to generate billions in revenue, making it a highly desirable asset. This led Glaxo to sell the rights to Zantac to Boehringer in 2006. 10 years later, Boehringer passed the torch to Sanofi, the current owner. Zantac had enriched many and seemingly helped countless people find relief from heartburn and pain. It was the epitome of a pharmaceutical success story. But that narrative was about to crumble. All along, ranitidine harbored a dark, hidden secret. The problem? Ranitidine was discovered to contain NDMA, a chemical known to cause various cancers. This revelation was shocking. While Zantac tablets contained NDMA levels below the FDA's daily limit, suggesting the drug was safe, this was a misleading picture. It turns out Glaxo had withheld crucial information during the Zantac approval process. If Glaxo wasn't forthcoming with the FDA about the risks, they certainly weren't about to warn the public. It has come to light that GlaxoSmithKline, GSK, the London-based company that developed Zantac in 1983, knew about the drug's cancer risks early on, yet continued to sell it without any warnings. Shockingly, a study detailing these risks was withheld from U.S. regulators by GSK executives for 37 years. In short, Glaxo and the subsequent companies that owned Zantac prioritized profit over the well-being of countless individuals who used the drug, completely unaware of the dangers that were deliberately kept hidden from them. After nearly 40 years, what finally brought the Zantac scandal to light? On September 9, 2019, a pharmacy made a disturbing discovery. Their Zantac stock contained shockingly high levels of NDMA. To put this in perspective, the FDA's acceptable daily intake of NDMA is 96 nanograms, and Zantac tablets typically contained around 18 nanograms. But this pharmacy found over 3 million nanograms, an astronomical amount. Clearly, something was drastically wrong. They promptly filed a complaint with the FDA, suspecting that high temperatures might be the cause of this dramatic spike in NDMA levels. Emory Pharma conducted a thorough investigation, and their findings were alarming. While a standard Zantac tablet contained around 18 nanograms of NDMA, Their research revealed that storing it at just 77 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 days increased the NDMA level to 25 nanograms. Even more concerning, storing it at 158 degrees Fahrenheit, 70 degrees Celsius, caused the NDMA to skyrocket to 142 nanograms, far exceeding the acceptable limit. This meant that anyone who left their Zantac in a hot car or direct sunlight could unknowingly be generating NDMA levels well above the safe limit. So while ranitidine might have contained acceptable NDMA levels at the time of production, that didn't guarantee it would remain safe for consumption. Emory Pharma promptly submitted a formal petition to the FDA, highlighting their findings that Zantac could produce dangerously high levels of a cancer-causing chemical when exposed to heat. Shortly after, the FDA issued a recall order for all ranitidine products. Their official statement acknowledged that while their own testing hadn't revealed consistently unacceptable levels of NDMA, the unknown storage conditions and durations made it impossible to guarantee the product's safety. Therefore, they determined that ranitidine should be removed from the market until its quality could be assured. Zantac, once Glaxo's crowning achievement, had become its worst nightmare. Millions of tablets were recalled, and tens of thousands of Zantac users, people who had simply sought relief from heartburn and acid reflux, were now facing devastating cancer diagnoses. This wasn't mere coincidence. The culprit was NDMA. And as the connection became clear, these victims began taking legal action against the pharmaceutical companies involved. The legal battles that followed were far from straightforward. Glaxo and the other companies involved fought fiercely to avoid paying out settlements, arguing that the experiments proving the link between Zantac and cancer used unreliable methodologies, lacked proper documentation, and were based on unsubstantiated analytical leaps. Then, in 2022, Zantac victims suffered a devastating setback. A federal judge in Florida sided with the pharmaceutical companies, deeming the claims not sound. This heartbreaking ruling resulted in over 50,000 claims against the companies being dismissed. It appeared as though these pharmaceutical giants had escaped accountability, with companies like Pfizer even expressing satisfaction with the previous ruling. But the victims' fight wasn't over. They persisted, continuing to pursue their cases. For years, Glaxo managed to evade most of these legal challenges. However, in July 2024, a Delaware judge ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, a decision Glaxo attempted to appeal but was denied. Finally, these cases could proceed to trial, and the dam broke. Glaxo was suddenly confronted with a staggering 77,000 claims and is now projected to pay out an estimated $2.2 billion in compensation. But they're not the only ones facing the consequences. Other ranitidine producers are also under intense scrutiny, particularly Sanofi, the current owner of Zantac. The Delaware court has approved 20,000 cases against the pharmaceutical giant, with expected settlements exceeding $100 million. Pfizer, too, is paying out up to $250 million to settle 10,000 lawsuits. Despite the harm caused and the massive payouts, the company's responses have been predictable. Sanofi, for example, has stated that it has vigorously defended the Zantac litigation since the outset and will continue to do so, claiming that victims had insufficient evidence that ranitidine can cause plaintiffs' alleged cancers. Perhaps the most astonishing statement of all came from Sanofi, who declared, "Sanofi is settling these cases not because we believe the claims have any merit, but rather to avoid the expense and ongoing distraction of the litigations. No concessions of liability have been made." This response is as evasive and disingenuous as it gets, demonstrating a complete lack of responsibility or accountability. And adding insult to injury, Zantac has actually returned to the market, reformulated without ranitidine, the very ingredient that caused all the problems in the first place. While Glaxo and Sanofi may continue to profit, their reputations may never fully recover. Even billions in settlements can't undo the damage caused by their greed and negligence. No amount of money can truly compensate for the harm they inflicted.